from the mound.
The Giants have won the ball game. Bill Laskey, in his first major league start, has shut out the Montreal Expos.
To the mic.
Friend of the show, let's bring in Bryce Eldridge. Let's welcome in Lee Jung-Hoo. Let's welcome in Wade Boggs. Let's bring in Will the Thrill. He's the ace of the staff. Let's welcome in Logan Webb. Logan, how are you today?
I'm doing good. Good to be on here.
Welcome to Extra Innings with Bill Laskey.
Giants sweep the L.A. Dodgers.
Sponsored by Lunardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply the best. Right here on your exclusive home of the San Francisco Giants. KNBR, the sports leader.
Bases loaded, 1 out, 4-2 Giants. Again the set, the pitch. Ground ball to third. Over to his left to get it. The throw to second by Harbor for 1. The throw to first by Schmidt for 2. And the game is over. After all of that, he got the ground ball. And Parks Harbor, who earlier, 1 inning ago, had booted a double play grounder, starts the game-ending double play. A chance for some redemption for him.
Welcome into the Extra Inning Postgame Show with Bill Laskey on a Sunday afternoon. What a gorgeous day here in Northern California, as well as it was in Scottsdale, Arizona, as the Giants win 2 in a row as they beat the Mariners yesterday. And today, a home opener at Scottsdale Stadium. And they ended up beating the Cubs 4-2 on some great defense, a triple play in the first inning, 2 beautiful plays in the 6th inning, getting runners out at home, and then a double play to end the game. And the Giants prevailed. They had some good base running, some good defense, some good pitching out of the bullpen, as well as another win. And I think a lot of positives came out of this game as well as yesterday. And you start seeing a lot of young talent in the latter part of the games on the field as well as on the mound. And it gives them that chance just to get into a big league game, to get these big leaguers out. Who cares if that opposition has guys in AAA or AA playing? This is a chance that you're at your home ballpark, Scottsdale Stadium, your home crowd there. You're in your orange uniforms. You are in the Giants organization being proud to pitch in a big league game. And they did that today. Really a crazy first inning. The alarms went off and emergency warnings in the background. You could hear it in John Miller and Dwayne Kuiper's microphone. It was kind of goofy. Nobody knew what the hell was going on. John and Dwayne didn't know. The umpires didn't know. The players didn't know. This thing's beeping in the background. Robbie Ray's trying to get consciousness of what he's got to do on the field. He didn't do well. He didn't pitch well today. I tell you, he threw 18 pitches, only 8 for strikes. He walked the first 2 hitters, Shaw and Bregman. Suzuki hit a bloop into right field. Rise picks it up, hits the Devers with a beautiful cut. Devers gets the guy at second. Willie Adames is there. They get both runners at third. They tag out Bregman. They tag out Shaw. It's a triple play. Something very, very unusual, unbelievable, bad base running by the Chicago Cubs, especially when you're looking at 3 veteran players that got caught in a AAA. And Robbie Ray walks off the mound with nothing hurt but 2 walks and a base hit. He wasn't really happy. There's no question there about how he threw the ball, got behind the hitters, really could not salvage anything in his arsenal today. As I said, he threw 18 pitches, 8 for strikes. And then a couple guys really threw the ball well after him. Carson Seymour, who came up last year for a bit, really had a nice 1 inning, went 1 inning, 1 hit, threw 13 pitches, 10 for strikes. Tristan Beck coming back right after that with a nice 1 inning, 1 hit, 1 strikeout, 13 pitches, 11 for strikes. Both those guys were in AAA as well as in big leagues last year. They're trying to get a look. They're trying to get an opportunity to see if they can break this bullpen, as the starting 5 were pretty much solid. And then you had Spencer Bivens, and as Kipe said, cut all his hair off. Total different look. Struggled a little bit in that inning, gave up a couple hits, but he ended up throwing 21 pitches, 15 for strikes, got out of it. Reaver San Martin, a name that came through the minor leagues, came through Latin America, getting an opportunity. He signed a minor league free agent deal, and he ended up throwing 1 inning, gave up a hit. Trent Harris, a very good pitcher for the San Francisco Giants through the minor league, struggled a little bit. He went 1 inning, giving up 2 hits. Wilkin Ramos, another minor leaguer, a free agent that signed. Most likely he'll be in the River Cat organization once camp breaks. He went 2/3 of an inning, had problems walking, 3 walks in a row, a couple runs there. Hunter Dryden, who pitched in San Jose, came in, got out of the inning. This is the guy I think we should really circle, Will Bednar, a number 1 pick. Many injuries going through A-ball and AA, high velocity, comes in, most likely very nervous, anxious, gets the first 2 guys as walks. And, those are the situations when a young pitcher's trying to just salvage, get me a strike, let me throw a strike, let me just get comfortable. And Justin Message went out there and just said, calm down, relax, this is something, you can do this. And what did he do? Got the next 3 guys out, came out with a nice inning after walking 2. That's a story that we're going to be watching and talking about throughout the spring. A very good arm, a very tough pitcher. And he caught a little bit in AA, a little bit of AAA. He's got lights-out stuff to really help this bullpen if this fashions out to be him. And these are things that will grow on us and through spring training to see if he's healthy. He's got, like I said, high velocity, 98, 99. He's topped at 100 at times. Today, again, a nice 98-mile-an-hour fastball on the average, a good breaking ball, and we'll see where he fits in. But I think it was just good for the organization to see Will on the mound and proceeding to get out of that inning after he walked the first 2 hitters. And I thought that was really a good move for the Giants to leave him in there. And then John Michael Bertrand, he ended up in AAA last year. Boy, he struggled throwing strikes, but at the end of the game, ended up getting a double play to end it after walking 3. He ends up getting the save. But these are players. These are pitchers that are seeing the mound. They're getting the ball. They're getting that heartbeat racing. They're getting that anxiety going. You have to get that. You have to go out there and do that as a young pitcher. And it gives you that plus in your mind that I can pitch here. I can get big leaguers out. The crowd of 9,408 were there. Sure, it's like a minor league game, but it's intimate. They're Giant fans. They're watching you as well as every organizational front office person from Buster Posey. And then you start looking at Tony Vitello and as well as Justin Message, the pitching coach. These are all guys to relay things to you, get you settled in, throw strikes. And that's what they ended up doing, and Giants ended up winning 4-2 today, and they're 2-0. And they have the Athletics coming in tomorrow. JT Brubaker is going to get the start. Trevor McDonald, Gregory Santos are going to follow him up. But today was just a good game. Again, another solid game. The Giants won yesterday. Today coming back in their home opener, winning that one 4-2. And I want to talk about the lineup right now, what the Giants did with Luis Ariz getting that opening first place in the lineup. And I think this is something that we're going to probably see him at. A leadoff hitter. But the second hitter, I was really happy to see that the Giants kind of pushed Devers down in a lineup a little bit, putting Matt Chapman as a 2 spot. I like this idea. I'd love to hear your idea, too, if you'd like that. 415-808-KNBR. Matt Chapman hitting in a second spot, a guy that can go to right field and left field. And today he did. He hit a double down the left field line, and then he went to the right field. He hit another double down the right field line. John Miller was just raving about how he took the bat, watched how the ball was going, pushed the ball to right field for a double. I like the idea. I'd like to see Matt Chapman up in the lineup. Willie Adames hitting 3rd, Rafael Devers hitting 4, Bailey hitting 5th, probably because he's a switch hitter. Jung-Hoo Lee hitting 6, Bryce Eldridge 7. Those are really some of the players that we're going to see in this lineup a lot. I still think Bryce Eldridge has a good shot breaking this team. Will Brennan, a player they picked up from the Guardians, a very good player. Injuries plagued him in the last couple of years. Had a nice base hit in the second inning to drive in the first run for the Giants. A left-hander playing left field, caught a nice ball down the left field line. This is somebody we're going to keep an eye on. This is somebody that the Giants are definitely looking at as that 4th outfielder. This is competition. We talked about it yesterday, competition in the bullpen, competition behind the plate with a backup catcher. Now you got competition everywhere on the field, and I think that's what Buster Posey wants. Get out there and bust your tail and see what you can produce, and every day is going to be like that. And what's going to happen next Sunday on March 1st, 9 players are going to go to the WBC, and there's going to be a lot of openings on the field and the mound, and you're going to see a lot of players getting those chances. And that's a chance you want. Get me a couple at bats. Get me a couple innings. The frontline manager is going to be here. Tony's going to be there. The coaching staff's going to be here. And there's players that are now going to be going to the WBC. When you look at what's in this clubhouse, 62 players are in camp. 62. And we're looking at 19 non-rosters. Most of those guys are invited that were in major leagues, getting an opportunity to see in front of the crowds as well as the front office, the coaching staff, and seeing what they can do as a non-roster player. Most of them are minor leaguers. You got 32 pitchers in camp. 8 of them are non-rosters, 6 catchers, 3 of them non-rosters, 13 infielders, 5 of them non-rosters, and 11 outfielders and 3 non-rosters. So a good abundance of players here that the Giants are going to keep running in and out of here. 10 pitchers through yesterday, 10 pitchers through today. So the chances of getting out there, trying to get an inning in, trying to get that 1, 2, 3 inning is something they have to prove. But we'll talk more about this, but I really want to hear what you think about this lineup they threw out there with Matt Chapman hitting in the second spot and some of the arms we saw. Later in the show, Tristan Beck joined me. I caught him up middle of the week today. Got a nice interview for you today. And really good stuff from Tristan Beck. He's going to go and play for Great Britain, him and his brother. And he's off to the WBC. And then, this is something I threw out yesterday. In spring training, I love to talk to young players that you probably have never heard of, players that you probably will not even make the big leagues, but it's the heart and soul of each player. And today you're going to hear about Diego Cartaya. And he's a Latin player. He's a backup catcher, a non-roster catcher. At 17 years old, he signed an international player as the number 1 pick, and the LA Dodgers picked him up, a very high-quality catcher. Got to Double-A, hurt his back. Ended up going to the Minnesota Twins, didn't really kick it. The Giants signed him last year, got him healthy, a very solid catcher, and somebody down the road we might see at the big league level. But talking to him, talking about the drive he has, talking about the will he has, and you'll hear him a little bit later in the show from Venezuela. And this is what I want to try to do in spring training. Drop some names, drop some voices that you've never heard of. But I think what Giants fans want to hear is what that player is made of. Why did the Giants pick him up? Why did the Giants think that he could be that player? And when you listen to some of these young, talented players, you're going to find out. You're going to find out the drive. You're going to find out the will. You're going to find out that heartbeat that these guys have. So we'll talk to Diego later in the show. All right, we're going to take our first break. Like I said, 415-808-KNBR. Love to hear your thoughts about this lineup with Matt Chapman hitting number 2. And some of the arms coming out of the bullpen today. Seymour, Beck, Bivens, San Martin. Some of the names that we'll be keeping an eye on, as well as what we did yesterday. I'm Bill Laskey. This is the Extra Inning Postgame Show. We're going to take our first break. Come back with more right here on KNBR, the sports leader.
The game may be over, but we know you want to talk more ball. So KNBR Extra Innings with Bill Laskey continues.
Sponsored by Lenardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply, the best.
We are KNBR 104.5 and 6.8, the sports leader.
The game. Here's the pitch now. There's a fly ball into shallow right center field. That's going to fall beyond anybody for a base hit. And the Cubs have 2 runners at third. Here goes a throw to second. Now the runner slides in there. He's out. Now they got 2 runners at third. This is going to turn into a double play, maybe even a triple play. Going over to third, there are 2 guys on base. And the backup runner who got tagged first is the guy who's going to be called out. And now the runner at third leaves the base, and he's going to be tagged out. It's a triple play to end the inning. Oh, wow. Matt Shaw made a boneheaded rookie mistake there. They both got tagged. Bregman was the guy who got called out. He left the bag, and then Shaw left the bag as well. And then the coach is there, said, "Where are you going? Get back over there." As Chapman walked over and tagged him out. Triple play.
Unbelievable.
All right, back on the Extra Inning post-game show. We're going to explain this as best as we can with the runners on first and second base after Robbie Ray walked Shaw and Bregman. Runners on first and second, nobody out. A bloop hit into right center field. Shaw is only going to hold between second and third, seeing if the ball was going to be caught by a rise. Bregman didn't see him holding, so he's coming first to second. He never stopped running. So once Shaw got to third base, Bregman was almost 3/4 to the bag. So now you got 2 runners on third. Well, Suzuki, seeing the play drop in, he sees a rise throw the ball into the infield. Well, Devers was the first baseman. He cuts the ball. He sees Suzuki going to second. He throws the ball directly to Willie Adames, who tags him. Now you still have Bregman and Shaw at third base. Well, Bregman's trying to come back to second, but he doesn't want to come to second. He's going to run right back into Adames, so he freezes there. And Shaw's supposed to stay on the bag. So Adames comes, drops the ball to Chapman. Chapman tags Bregman. All of a sudden, Shaw starts getting off and going down home, and Chapman tags him for a triple play. Well, the lead runner, Shaw, did the right thing because he had to wait to see what the ball was going to do to drop in. Bregman was the aggressor there in running from first to third, and he got caught in the middle. He couldn't go back because Suzuki was trying to get to second base. Suzuki thought, hey, they're going to score a run. We'll have Bregman in third. I'll come in and get second base. Well, the great play of this was Arise picking it up and throwing a bullet to Devers, who was the cutoff man at first base, coming in to cut the play. With Devers back toward home plate, everything was forward. So he saw Suzuki coming from first to second. Willie Adames goes and tags him out at second base as the lead first out of the inning. Well, Adames looks and he sees both runners at third base. He's thinking he's just going to go tag Bregman, and Shaw is going to stay on the bag. Well, once he tagged Bregman, Chapman's right there saying, give me the ball, and sure enough, what happens? A triple play. Great defense, great heads-up plays, and I think that's what the key was there in defense. We talk about how bad the defense was last year with 98 errors. Those are heads-up plays. Those are veteran-like leaders. And you look at Rafael Devers, who was mostly a third baseman, so he knows how to cut the ball. He was in a perfect position. Seeing the ball, Arise getting it, catching the ball, watching the runner go from first to second, picks him up, boom, throws to Adames, he gets an out, and Adames, knowing both runners are at third base, is a heads-up play. And Robbie Ray, who struggled that first inning throwing strikes, getting anybody out, he walks off the diamond with a smile on his face with a triple play. And he gives up 2 walks and a hit. So it wasn't really a good outing for Robbie Ray, but in turn, that was good defense. And seeing that in the veterans that are playing, with Arise now at second and Will Devers now at first, that's a good plus right there. And it happened more as the game progressed. In the 6th inning, when like the second liners came in, McRae was playing the outfield, misjudged a ball with a runner on first, and the ball dropped. He picked it up, hit Koss, who was coming out more or less into short center field, and Koss threw a bullet to Haas at home to get the runner. And that was just a good heads-up, bam play. And they go over this all the time in spring training, the cutoffs and the relays, knowing where you're supposed to be, knowing how you retrieve the ball, listening to the infielders behind you, going home, third. And you took it and you just wheel and you throw it, and he threw a bullet to Haas. And it also happened in the 6th inning again with a runner on third base with 1 out, and a fly ball went out to Jung-Hoo Lee in right field, and they tried to tag. Jung-Hoo Lee with a cannon for an arm threw a one-hopper right into Haas for the out of the inning, a double play, and the Giants come out of that inning with 2 outs on plays at the plate with a fly ball to Jung-Hoo Lee. Just good defense, and I think that's what all Giants fans want to see, better defense, better heads-up play, knowing what to do when you get the ball, knowing what to do with the runners at different positions. And it also happened at the end of the game with a nice 5-4-3 double play to end the game, where Harbor threw to Schmidt at second and Schmidt threw to first to end the game with bases loaded with 1 out. Things like this are all positives. They're things that everybody works on. You do so many infield drills. Pitchers do PFPs. It's constant. And these are the things that pitchers always say, I'm done with it. No, you got to keep doing it. Repetition makes perfect, and you got to keep doing the repetition drills each spring where it's embedded in your mind. If you're a right-hand pitcher, if a ball's hit over your left shoulder, boom, you're breaking to first base. Things like that matter with 1 step, a half a step. We've seen it happen. Logan Webb, I hate to pick on him, but Logan Webb a couple times being late to cover first base. That's why these drills are important. That's why you do it in the back, and you do them early in the morning. Catchers blocking the ball. Alex Bergs is doing a fantastic job with the catchers right now in blocking balls, making sure that they can throw behind the runners. Different things that will help the major league level, but also the minor league level. And I think that's what you want to come out of in spring training. Like I said, 62 players are in camp. And every one of them are going through these drills. Every one of them are learning different bunt defenses. Where am I supposed to go on this play? Also the wheel play, pickoff plays. These things are all embedded in your mind, but you got to use them. You got to get comfortable when you're out there to use these. And I would love to see more of that. I'd love to see more pickoff plays at second, little back doors on first with the catchers. That makes it a little easier. If you can pick off and get an easy out here and there, that's what all these drills are for, and that's what the Giants, as well as other 29 teams, do every spring training. That's why the pitchers-catchers come down a week prior before the whole squad comes down, not just thrown on the side or bullpens. They're doing PFPs, pitching, fielding, practice is what it's called. But, boy, you drill it, and you drill it, and you drill it, and you drill it. And it's fun, but at the same time, boy, it's constant. And you do it every day. Every day you do it. And like I said, repetition makes it to be perfect. 415-808 KNBR. Love to hear what you think about Matt Chapman hitting in the second spot today. I was very happy to see that. I just feel that Matt Chapman put so much pressure on himself hitting in the 4 spot. I wouldn't mind seeing Rafael Devers hit 3 and Willie Adames hit 4. I'd love to see a little of that, too, if you can go lefty-righty, where today Arise lefty, Chapman righty, Adames righty, Devers lefty, switch hitting Bailey in the 5th spot. I think he needs to change a few of these things, get some different ideas on where these guys are comfortable. If you got Arise and Devers like we thought it was going to be, that's not a bad idea either. But at the same time, I'd like to see a little bit more in the middle of the order, 3, 4, 5, a little more stronger than what we saw last year. Okay, 415-808 KNBR. My buddy Andrea is calling in. Andrea, how are you this afternoon?
Good, Bill. How are you?
Doing good. Another good win by the Giants. Some positive things on the defense, as I've been talking about, and the lineup had a lot of number ones in there, and I think that's a key to see how these guys can put the order in, see how they get comfortable playing with each other.
You know, Chapman's a dependable Taurus, April 28th. So I think Taurus don't like change, but they can be amenable as needed. And how about, the triple play? They say if you go watch baseball every day, you'll always see something you haven't seen before. And,
We've always said that too, Andrea, and something different every day. And, you know, as we talk about an emergency fire alarm or whatever the hell was ringing in the background, and things just happen. Robbie Ray just couldn't throw strikes today. A good heads-up play, like I just said, Arise to Devers, to Adames, to Chapman. The infield that you're going to pretty much see of the year. And I want to see more of that, a little more communication, knowing where to go, where to cut the ball off, who's covering each base, and it turned out to be a triple play.
Right. I mean, that was something to behold. And that fire alarm, I got to say, Mercury's retrograding really soon, February 26th to March 20th. So, it's like expect the unexpected energy. And it's in orb now. It's in retro shade. We're already feeling it. So these type of expect the unexpected occurrences with technology, Bill, communication, travel delays.
Well, there you go again, Andrea. Technology, you're hitting it right on the nail of the head right there. And I don't think anybody knew what the hell was going on. John and Dwayne didn't know what was going on. The beeper in the background telling everybody, don't use the elevator. You know, you heard it over, like Dwayne said, 25 times. Some fans left, some fans didn't. Umpires thought, hey, it's a glimpse. Let's keep playing. The Giants pull off a triple play, and amazing triple play to get out of that first inning. But let me ask you something, Andrea, and I'm going to ask this to a lot of the callers today. Did you like the order? Did you like Arise, Chapman, Adames, and Devers? Did you like how he changed that a little bit today?
Well, here's the thing. Spring training is about trying new things. So I think, it's certainly worth a try. I mean, if you're going to try something, now's the time. And, Chapman, as I said, he's a dependable Taurus. They don't always like change, but they can deal with it. And I think it's worth a try. That's what spring training's about.
I like it, and it may work right there. It gives him a chance to get on base, goes the opposite way, and we'll find out more. But I'm right there with you. Spring training is to test out different things in the lineup, test out different pitchers. And, again, Giants are playing pretty good. They're 2-0. But, Andrea, thanks for the call today. Enjoy a beautiful day today. Let's go to Mike in San Francisco. Mike, you're on the Extra Inning post-game show. Giants are 2-0. They played a pretty good game today.
Undefeated. Hey, happy new ball season. It's good to hear.
Hey, Mike, how are you? Good talking to you. Thanks for calling in. And, that first inning, like I was just talking to Andrea, kind of crazy the way the whole play went down. But I'm very happy to see how the defense were in the right place at the right time, especially with Devers and Arise on the right-hand side of the infield. What did you think about that whole play? Pretty heads up.
Okay, so I thought it was poetic justice, that alarm going off, and Robbie Ray kind of losing the ball up in the zone for a while after that. But I thought it was great because Devers really had a close play at second there, and you can't underestimate his arm. So it was nice to see him get that out at second and all that. Those guys were probably confused about the call at second. But I called today, like you were asking about Chapman, and with as many pitches as Arias is gonna make a pitcher throw to him every at bat, and that's the worst guy you want to see in the lineup is the guy that's just going to foul 10 off, and
those are the worst hitters. Let me tell you, Mike, those are the guys that you lead off the game with, and he's taking 6, 7, 8 pitches from you, and you're just like, just put a ball in play, would you? As a pitcher, those are the tough outs, and I'll go back to even Tony Gwynn, who'll foul off 10 pitches. These guys are looking for certain pitches in certain spots. I'm glad Arise finally got a hit in that 5th inning to get him on the board. I really think that's going to be a big, big plus. Harrison Bader in the 9-hole, that's going to be a key point to see if you got that 9-1-2, and it worked today when Bader got a base hit in the 5th inning. Arise got a base hit. Koss got a walk, bases loaded, a couple ground balls, got a couple runs in, and runners in scoring position, they didn't do well today, 1 for 12. but still you got a couple ground ball outs to get some runs in, and I think that's the thought pattern what Buster Posey was looking at in getting some veteran hitters in this lineup.
Yeah, I think the days of us seeing some guys stranded there are kind of behind us. Chapman's definitely good enough to take advantage of a kind of a dead arm or maybe just a frustrated arm. And, I wanted to ask you, how do you think it's going to help these pitchers' ERA? Just with the new vamped defense, with Ron Washington out there, with Bader playing center and Jung-Hoo playing right, we've really got a lot of ground covered. I think it's going to help immensely, but I just wanted to hear your thoughts on that.
Well, I think the whole key is confidence, what's behind you now. You look at what they did last year, 96 errors. They were number 23 out of 30 teams. They came out, if you remember, Mike, the first couple of months, they were spot on. They were catching everything, good defense, and then they went kind of in a slump in June. Defense is a key, and you always talk about defense up the middle. You got Patrick Bailey, 2 Gold Gloves. You got Willie Adames and Arise at second and short. Now you have a proven center fielder that can go get them. Gold Glove up the middle, Gold Glove up top. Harrison Bader is that kind of guy that he's going to be very aggressive. I think he's going to help Elliot Ramos the best. I think those guys are going to gel more in the outfield. Elliot's got to play a little better in left field this year. He's talked about it. He worked about it in the Winter League. Jung-Hoo Lee, nice throw today down the right field. Overall, Mike, I really think the defense is going to be the core as well as offense. Pitching is going to be the big question mark. Everybody's been talking about the bullpen. I've been talking about it. Even yesterday we talked about it. Today a couple good arms came out, threw a nice solid inning. But I think that's going to be the big question mark. How are they going to put this bullpen together? But overall, how do you feel the defense is going to be this year?
I think I listened to FP Santangelo a lot during the off season, and just everything he was saying down to like the way he had his hand turned. Ron Washington was simplifying the game to him, and I think Arias, I was really surprised moved to first base. I thought he was all right at second. Because
I think the range,
just watching their games.
I think the range is probably, he's only 29 years old. He's more or less been a DH. Played, hit the ball real well with San Diego and the Florida. And I just think he wants to get back on the field. And that's why I think he chose the Giants rather than going somewhere else just to be a hitter. And when you got Casey Schmidt, Christian Koss, Tyler Fitzgerald, some of the guys that are fighting to get that backup spot. Casey Schmidt made a nice double play in the ninth inning. I think he's probably the lead guy that's going to be your utility infielder. Those are things that are going to happen when you get leads, and I think you're going to see Arise come out of the game to have better defense. But starting out, man, you can't beat that guy as a leadoff hitter, and then you got some power coming behind him. But I think Buster Posey was number one thought was, I got to get defense better, and he did.
So we're in for a good year, Bill.
I think so too, Mike.
Have a nice rest of your afternoon, my friend.
All right. Thanks for the call, Mike. Appreciate it. Let's go to Don in San Francisco. Don, you're on the Extra Inning Post-Game Show. A beautiful day here on Sunday, and a nice win by the San Francisco Giants in Scottsdale. How are you, Don?
Oh, okay. I'm just curious about they did not get no big fish like they didn't like a big fish in free agency. I'm just curious about how these guys gonna do for the whole season. I'm just concerned about the manager because he never coached in the major leagues. I'm just concerned about that.
Well, Don, I think your big name came with a trade to Boston, picking up Rafael Devers. I think that's the number one key that Buster did last year, and he really would be your number one guy in free agency. He's got a big contract. I think under the Giants coming out the first day with wearing orange and black, opening his mouth, being a leader, which I love to hear in the clubhouse. That's going to give you an advantage. A couple great Latin players with Luis Ariz and Devers, Adames. this combination is going to give you some runs. I think the offense is going to surprise teams. I think the offense is going to surprise Giants fans. I think what just like Mike said, the defense. We got to see better defense this year. I don't worry about free agency. I don't worry about what he didn't do or what he did do. He cored up the positions that needed. Center field. Harrison Bader, one of the best. And even though he's played with numerous teams, he signed him to a 2-year deal for $10 million each year. I think it was a big plus because he's got speed. He can hit for power. He goes the opposite way. And the top of the thing is he's a leader also, and he's going to help the outfielders. Jung-Hoo Lee moving from center field to right field, that's going to be a big, big change for him, especially at Oracle Park. Playing the bricks, playing those little windows out in right field. He said he wanted to talk to Yastrzemski about how to play right field. I would love to see Jung-Hoo Lee get here before that opening day of March 25th against the Yankees and get some feeling out in right field, get some feel of how the right field is. But I'm not going to question what Buster Posey did. He put a good team together. The team's going to have to gel. They're going to have to play better. Tony Vitello. You're absolutely right. No major league experience. No really professional experience. He played maybe in Stockton, but the guy's a winner. And I say that because, you still have to go to college and win and coach, and he did very well in Tennessee. He was 341 wins, 131 losses for a .722 winning percentage, Don, and that's what you want to see. You want to see a winning attitude. He's got it. He's got a great, great coaching staff, a lot of young coaches, a lot of first-year coaches, but you got to give him a chance. And you got to give him some pluses and some minuses. He's going to learn his team. He's going to learn what he can do and what he can't do. But at the same time, I think he's going to be aggressive as a young manager. And all we can do is wait and see, Don.
Yeah, you're right, Bill. Yeah, I just hope they have better this year than they had last year. On paper, it should be better this year than last year.
I think so too. 81-81 last year. You got to get better than that. If you're going to get into this wild card or win the National League West, you got to play better baseball, consistent baseball. Some of the ups and downs last year when they were riding high, then they came down and lost, 7 out of 10, 6 out of 9, but then they'd go back and win 5 out of 7. You got to be consistent. You can't get these losing streaks where you battle. And the biggest thing, Don, I think everybody's looking at, you got to stay healthy. A lot of older players, a lot of younger players, but the health of the team. And you know this, Don. You've watched baseball for many years. It's staying healthy and giving opportunities to different players on the bench. You got to have a strong bench. You got to have guys that can bop in, bop out, and pick a guy up here and there. And I think that's what spring training is all about, Don. And we'll find out who breaks with this team. And with the WBC, there's going to be a lot of different chances from players getting the eyes of the manager, getting the eyes of Buster Posey with the players at the end of the spring training, seeing who's going to break. But we'll find out, Don. But, again, good call. I appreciate your time, and we'll just keep chugging away in spring training. Let's go to San Jose and talk to Rich. Rich, you're on Extra Innings with Bill Laskey. Giants are 2-0. How about that?
Hey, thanks for taking the call. Gosh, what a great weekend to start baseball. And so amazing to hear everybody back on the air, including yourself. Great to have everyone back. And, I think what I saw the last couple of days, which really stood out, you've got some great veteran leadership. You got some new leadership coming in, settling down, and everyone looks like they're just having fun playing ball. And I think when you get a great supporting staff around Vitello with Wash and all the other guys, you just get back into you do what you love doing best. That's just playing baseball. And I think getting these two wins.
Let me ask you, Rich. Let me ask you this one, Rich. Did you, when you looked at the lineup today, and I threw this out in the beginning, Matt Chapman hitting 2 instead of 4 in the spot in the lineup, what did you think of that?
Not. New season, new year, new opportunities, and you know what? Let everybody battle, and the tide will raise all ships. And I think it's a great opportunity. It's a new look.
Yeah, and you know what? He goes 2 for 2. How about that? And even John Miller goes, hold on, don't get him hot so fast. And he hits a ball down the left field line for a double, goes the opposite way to right field, and with Luis Ariz leading off, taking a lot of pitches, fouling off a lot of pitches. I like that. I really like Matt Chapman there better than Rafi.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's a great look, and the way it's going to trickle with the whole team, you get a solid, consistent offense. It's going to relax your defense. It's going to relax your rotation. They're going to play better. Offense is going to play better. And when you get that rhythm and that heartbeat going, it's a very hard team to beat, period.
Yep, I agree. Totally agree with you, Rich. And thanks for the call. Appreciate your time. And I'm right there with you. You just got to keep blending, making that clubhouse the way you want it, getting these veterans to lead the youngsters. And here we go. We're 2-0 in 2 games and a lot more baseball to play. But thanks, Rich, for your call. We're going to take a quick break on the Extra Inning Postgame Show. Got a few callers on hold. Don't go anywhere as we're talking Giants baseball here on Extra Innings. More coming up right here on KNBR, the Sports Leader.
You're listening to the former Giants righty. It's KNBR Extra Innings with Bill Laskey.
Sponsored by Lenardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply, the best.
Heard on your Apple HomePod by saying play KNBR.
Fly ball along the right field line into foul ground to make the catch, Jung-Hoo Lee. Now he throws home, the runner going. The throw is right there. Not close. Out at home. Double play. An inning is over. What a throw by Jung-Hoo Lee.
That's 3 perfect throws in the inning, and it creates 2 outs.
And Jung-Hoo Lee, by the way, and I think we already knew this, he definitely has the arm of a right fielder.
He definitely does. Wow. And he showed it right there.
Back on the Extra Inning post-game show with Bill Laskey. Some great defense by the Giants today. A triple play in the first inning, a couple plays at the plate in the 6th inning, and a double play to end the game in the 9th. Just a good all-around game for the San Francisco Giants. You start looking at some of the guys that got hits. Arias went 1 for 3. Matt Chapman went for 2 for 2. Christian Koss had a beautiful hit and run in the 7th inning. When McRae was on first base, he took off, and what did Koss do? Hit a ball right in the hole where the second baseman was, and a beautiful hit and run right there. He goes 1 for 1. You also had a couple RBIs. Willie Adames had bases loaded. He hit a ground ball to short, got an RBI. Rafael Devers came up and hit one in the hole for an RBI with a runner on third. 2 good at bats, 2 balls that were hit in play to get those RBIs, to get 2 runs for the Giants in the 5th inning. Haas ended up getting a base hit. Jung-Hoo Lee got a nice base hit to left field and second in the 2nd inning. And, of course, the play he had in the 6th inning with that throw to home. And Will Brennan, a player that they picked up from the Guardians, injured most of the year last year, got a nice base hit in that 2nd inning to give the Giants a lead. After Lee got the base hit, Eldridge got the walk, and Brennan on a 3-2 pitch went opposite way to left field, and they scored their first run. So some good stuff right there by the offense. And on a pitching side, Robbie Ray didn't pitch well, but he goes 1 inning. Seymour, Beck, Bivens, San Martin, Harris, and Will Bednar all got 1 innings with no runs scored. So a win by the Giants. 10 pitchers once again pitched, and they're going to be playing the Athletics tomorrow in Scottsdale. J.T. Brubaker will get the start. Trevor McDonald and Gregory Santos will be following them up. All right, let's get back to the phone calls. Let's go to South San Francisco and talk to John. John, you're on Extra Innings on a Sunday. Hope you're well.
Hey, Bill, how are you? I'm glad to hear your voice back finally.
Well, baseball's starting, and I'll be on the weekends, 2026 season, and you got to like it. The first 2 shows I have, and they pick up 2 wins in spring training. The reigning Cactus champions are in first place. How's that?
Oh, that feels great, Bill. Hey, Bill, I want to talk about something that's really important, with the rosters. Do you know who stays or who goes, all that stuff, or is this just too early to call on that?
Well, it's way too early. The key players that you want to look at are players and pitchers that are out of options. So they can't go back to AAA. If they go to AAA, they go on waivers, and they lose them. And that's Jose Budo. That's Juan Encarnacion. Matt Gage, a left-hand pitcher. Sam Henches, who they picked up in free agency. Luis Matos, Elliot Ramos. Those are the kind of guys that are on the bubble. And when I say on the bubble, if they do not make the major league roster, they can't go back to AAA. They become free agents, and they can sign anywhere else. So you end up losing them unless you trade them. But if you do trade them, John, they got to go to the big leagues because there's no options left. So those are the kind of guys you got to watch out for, especially Luis Matos, who's been up and down, Encarnacion, who can hit the hell out of the ball, but where does he play? Is he just a DH? Can he play right field? Elliot Ramos isn't going anywhere, but I really look at a couple of them on the bump, and I think a couple of them are going to be looked at pretty closely.
I absolutely agree with that, Bill. And another thing, Bill, is I liked how Buster getting Luis Arias as a leadoff hitter. Last year, we couldn't find a leadoff hitter for the Giants last year. We were just like, how many leadoff hitters we went last year? I think 5 or 6? I don't even know.
Well, Jung-Hoo Lee was supposed to be the primary leadoff hitter, and it didn't work out. And then Elliot Ramos became the leadoff hitter, and to me, I just didn't see him as a leadoff hitter. You know, I was arguing on the show going, try somebody different, try to get him down in the order. Well, now I like him down in the order. I like him in that 6th, 7th, 8th hole, and I think he's going to really prevail lower in the order with more power numbers. I'm right there with you. Luis Arias is your leadoff hitter. Earlier caller, as a pitcher, I hated guys like that leading off the game, fouling balls off, 7, 8 pitches into the bat, and you're like, God, put the ball in play, would you? But he's that kind of guy. He's that gritty leadoff hitter, a 300, three batting titles. I like the move, and I like to give him that opportunity to play second base. 29 years old. Let Ron Washington put his magic on him.
Yeah, I really liked him. Well, he was a problem last year when he hurt the Giants last year when he was with the Padres. He always hurt us as well a lot when he was with the Padres.
You're right.
And then I also like the high. Go ahead, Bill. I didn't even interrupt you. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say I like how he uses the whole field. You know, he can go to left field, got a base at the left field today. He can go to right field, and he's got some of that hidden power. He had a home run last year in San Diego, surprised the hell out of me, and he just drove the ball with a line drive out. I like the move, I really do.
I kind of like the move, too, and I also like the move of signing Harrison Bader. You move Jung-Hoo Lee to right field now. Now you got Bader, who's going to be the actual center fielder. I like that move. I love his effort. I love the speed of Harrison Bader. But we all know when he was with St. Louis, he always hurt the Giants.
He sure did.
So,
and he made some Superman catches, John, where he dove completely east to west and diving and making catches. An aggressive outfielder. He's probably going to play shallow, and he likes to see the ball go over his head. But he's got that little extra speed, as good outfielders do. They'll go see where the ball is going to hit, but you always have that little extra burst that he can get to the ball, and I'm anxious to see how he plays Oracle.
Exactly. I'm looking forward to that as well when he plays at Oracle Park. And then my other question for catching situation, who do you think will be winning that starting job as backup catcher for Patrick Bailey? Is this just too early yet? We don't know yet.
I tell you what, I've kind of fallen in love with Daniel Susak. And a young catcher, that played with the A's. I had him on for an interview yesterday. If you haven't heard it, go on to all the KNBR podcast. Take a listen to it. A genuine catcher. Of course, his brother played with the Giants, backing up Buster. There are some other catchers. Haas, who played with the Cleveland Guardians. Rodriguez, who they picked up from the Yankees. A young catcher would probably is not going to get an opportunity. I have an interview with him today. Diego Cartaya. A Latin player, most likely will be in AA or AAA, but still a very good catcher. I think my eyes are on Daniel Susak with the opportunity of catching a backup and possibly, filling in here and there.
Yeah, hey, we can't forget about his brother, Andrew Susak, a forever Giant, Bill.
Right. He's got a World Series ring, and you got to go listen to that interview. We talk a little bit about it, and he was a young kid when his brother was in the big league. So he said he really watched him, and then when the Giants picked him up from the Minnesota Twins after the Rule 5, they picked him right up, and I think Buster saw a lot in him when he was with the Athletics. A young kid, still young, but he's still got a dynamite arm. Got a nice base hit yesterday, a line drive to third. I just like him. I just think the combination of him behind Bailey, he'll learn a little bit from Bailey, but still he's got some great catching skills.
I actually agree with that, Bill. And then one more thing. Is it concerning for the Giants players, playing in the WBC this year? Is it kind of risky for players like Logan Webb?
It's always risky. You look what happened to Diaz. I mean, he blew his knee out. I mean, there's things that happen in the WBC, but you can't really stop players from playing for their country. Tristan Beck, I have him in an interview today. He's playing with Great Britain. He's playing with his brother, the heritage from his mom and dad. Those are things you play once in your lifetime. And there's so many players from Venezuela. You start looking at Dominican. You look at Mexico. You got to go and do it. Bader's going to go play for Israel. It's the culture. It's the one of a time where you put that uniform on and you're playing for your home country. And there's always a slight chance of injury. There's always that chance to get hurt and do it. But at the same time, each one of those guys are going to play for their country. USA, look at what they have. Boy, that lineup and their pitching staff, Logan Webb's going to be in there, and there's going to be some grinding, some things that they're going to be looking at for pitch counts. But at the same time, they're going to be, very, very cautious on who plays and how much they play. They have to because their teams rely on them because they're mostly all superstars.
Right. Well, Bill, it's great to hear your voice, and I'm glad I'll talk to you more on the weekend shows if I'm saying correctly, and I'm looking forward to the Giants season.
Excellent, John. Good stuff today, buddy. Good stuff. Good questions, and I'm glad I got to talk to you more about them. And we'll see how this all opens up as spring training continues. But thanks for the call, John. Appreciate it. Let's go out to Oak Grove and talk to Dallas. Dallas, thanks for holding on for me. How are you today?
Pretty good. How are you, Bill?
Doing good. Giants are 2-0. See a lot of good things. Like today, I wanted to see how that infield was going to play with Chapman, Adames, Arise, and Devers, and they had a nice, play, a nice triple play. But again, where everybody was supposed to be, where the cuts were, where the ball was moving, that to me is rewarding to see a defense.
Yeah, that was a surprising one. I mean, probably something that you never see the whole rest of the year, and you probably only
in the first inning
spring training game. But,
I agree.
Devers having an arm there at first base is kind of nice to have.
I think the instinct of him playing third base in his career also, not afraid to have the ball hit to him. I just think he's just got to get comfortable with his feet on the bag. I think that's the biggest thing, the adjustment. But catching ground balls, lobbing them to pitchers, going to first, it's going to be interesting. And I think Giants fans, last year was just so tough on him coming from Boston in a trade. Now the offseason, now he's a Giant. He knows he's going to be here. Some great Latin players to assist him in that locker room. And I think he's gelling. He's gelling as a leader, and I love to see that.
Yeah, for sure. On your question that you asked starting off the show about Chapman, I'd kind of like to see that. My big thing is that Chapman and Adames are kind of the same hitter. They both are, hit 230, 240, got some pop, but also a lot of strikeout. And it seems like those guys are grouped together a lot, but when, if they're not hitting at the same time, then that's kind of a dead spot in the order. So I like to split those guys up. And so having somebody between them, Devers between them, I think is good to see. I know
that's kind of threw out there also, Dallas. I thought Devers in the 3 spot. Back in my day, the 3 hitter was always the best hitter in the lineup. Now it's 1 or 2, and sometimes it's always the second hitter because they get 4 at bats. It's changed in how the lineups are made. But I'm right there with you. I wouldn't mind seeing Adames be the 4th hitter and Devers being 3. Now we got lefty, righty, and then you could do Bailey as a switch hitter. I don't know if I'm sold on him being a 5 hitter yet. Jung-Hoo Lee, I like being down in the order. Elliot Ramos could fit in that. There are a lot of possibilities. There's some good hitting team. This is going to be a good hitting team this year, and I'm looking forward for them to score 3, 4, 5 runs a game, and they should.
Natural thing these days to try to get that extra at bat for Devers, but I'd rather have somebody on base. So,
you like him in the 3 spot more than the 4 spot?
Maybe that's old school.
Yeah. We'll see. That's all we can do, Dallas. What about pitching? You like the starting rotation that the Giants are putting out there this year?
I mean, on paper, if everyone stays healthy, then it's fine. But we know that that's never the case. And so it is going to require some of these younger guys that we're seeing, Tidwell yesterday. And, these younger pitchers are going to have to step up and eat some innings because this rotation, you've got Webb that pitches, 200 innings, but everybody else is, a lot less than that. So there's a lot of innings.
Yeah, Robbie Ray kind of fizzled at the end of the year last year. He had a real nice May, June, July, August, and September struggled a little bit. That was his first full year after Tommy John. Tyler Mahle is going to be a big, big plus. I really think he's going to be a lot better than people expect him. Bruce Bochy had him in Texas. Had some great numbers last year. He only had 16 starts, 6-4 with a 2.1 earned run average. That's pretty damn good. Has 5-pitch mix. The guy that I think is going to surprise everybody is going to be Adrian Hauser. Pitched with the White Sox last year, 8-5 with a 3.31 earned run average, 6-2 in Chicago, 8-5 overall. His trade just didn't work out for him. But he's a guy that's going to get a lot of ground balls. I think these guys are going to really rely on defense. We talk about what defense did, what Buster did in the outfield, and seeing what Arise and Devers does on the right side of the infield. We'll see what they can do. And all we can do is wait and watch these guys perform and see if the Giants starting rotation can compete against some of these top-line lineups, really.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to seeing it as we get into the season here.
Yeah. Well, Dallas, thanks for the call. I appreciate you holding and looking forward to talking to you more as the season goes on. Let's go to Ron. He's in San Francisco. Ron, you're on the Extra Inning post-game show. A beautiful day here in San Francisco and a beautiful day in Scottsdale as the Giants win 4-2 against the Cubs.
Hey, how are you, Bill?
I'm doing good. Good weekend, 2 good wins. Saw a lot of pitching, 20 pitchers we saw in 2 games. Some good defense, some really good defense from the outfield today, getting a couple runners thrown out at home. And a game-winning double play to end it in the 9th after 3 walks, and the Giants come out with a win. And got to be satisfied with wins. Of course, they don't mean anything, but again, you keep in that winning spirit in that locker room.
Well, absolutely. And I'm a big fan of locker room environment. And one of the consistent things that any of the Giants winning teams had was a strong locker room. So I'm really, really looking forward to that.
I like what they happened to happen. When Tony Vitello went in there with the pitchers and catchers, some of the pitchers talked. No doubt Logan Webb got up and said, hey, I'm tired of being 500. I want a winning team. I want a challenge to get in a wild card or win the NL West. I want to get in the playoffs. I'm tired of just being 500. That tells you the drive that Logan Webb has. And he's that type of leader. He's going to get up and talk. Rafael Devers did it. I talked about it earlier in the show. Rafael Devers is a guy that I really think could be a leader. Luis Arise, he was on Marcus and Murph, really wants to get this team gelling, really wants to see the fans. He knows what Oracle Park can do, and he wants the fans to be loud. He says in Latin America, fans are loud, and that's what he loves to drive on. And you get that out of Oracle Park. We've seen it. We've heard it. It gets people excited when you win.
Well, that's a good segue into one of the first things I wanted to bring up to you was Vita Blue. I know how close he was to you. So I grew up in the city, literally 5 minutes walking from Candlestick, and my brother and I were ballpark rats. And Vita had no business to befriend 2 little kids hanging at the park, and he did. And we would go to night games, and he would leave us tickets, and then he would drive us home after the game. And that's the kind of clubhouse guy and team guy he was.
He sure was, and it wasn't fake. He was pure heart, man, pure heart from a good friend. I've seen him do so many different things, from reaching in his wallet, giving money on the streets, buying dinners for people. Even if he had $20 in his pocket, he was giving it away to people. He was sincere to people. He was that true blue that we all remembered Vito was. But you know what? Players in this locker room, as you say, they have to keep this gelling. They have to keep a winning attitude, and they have to stop from blaming people. You can't point at people in the beginning of a year. You got to go out and bust your tail. Ron, you know this. There's going to be highs and lows. There's going to be guys that are going to get off, hitting only 200, but they'll come back. Willie Adames, you remember what happened last year? Man, he struggled the first couple months, ended up having a good second half. It's not how you start, it's how you end. And it's always a marathon and not a sprint. But I like what they're doing. I like how they're gelling. I like how this Latin connection of players are starting to play a little bit better, talking to each other. And they're bringing the younger players in. Bryce Eldridge is one. I talk about Daniel Susak. And you start talking about different players. It's so good to see a Drew Gilbert getting opportunities. You look at the pitching staff with younger pitchers and getting chances. Landon Roop's going to get back on the mound. They have to gel. You got to get young. You got to get them up, and you got to get them to play. So we'll find, Ron, what this team's going to be like as spring training continues.
Well, the other thing with Vitello is, he's been in baseball his whole life, and it's easy to sit on the sidelines and say, well, what's he, does he know about this? Does he know about that? If us fans talk about hit and runs and bunts and runs and all those things, you can't tell me that Vitello doesn't know that also.
Right. I agree. And you know what? The nice hit and run today, if you remember, in the seventh inning, with McRae at first base, he takes off, and Christian Koss, beautiful hit and run, hit it right where second base was. You're a baseball guy, Ron. That's what you want to see, a guy that can control the bat and put the ball in play when you need to. I want to see more of that. I want to see more stolen bases is what I really want. I want more guys to get on bags and give them an opportunity to get a stolen base. And this is what the Giants have not done in years past. 29th out of 30 teams last year, 30th the year before. Get on base and go and see if these speedsters can steal a bag for you.
Well, not only that, when you talk about Bader, Lee, and Arise, you're talking about guys you can spread through the lineup who can put pressure on the pitchers in that respect. And then you put in the guys who can bop the ball. There's an old Earl Weaver thing about, good defense, great pitching, and a 3-run home run. But what people think about is the home run. But in order to have a 3-run home run, you have to have runners on base. And that is potentially what you have. And in terms of a lineup, I was always a fan of the Bonds-Kent thing, third and cleanup. You put Bonds in that third spot, and he has a potential of driving in a run or giving Kent pitches. And that's another thing of spreading this lineup. You put boppers in like, Devers and Chapman and Adames and Ramos. Now, if you have traffic, now they get to see more pitches.
And hitting is contagious, isn't it? We always talk about it. One guy gets a hit, the next guy's going to get one, and next thing you know, you got two on and nobody out. That's what happened today. And what I liked when they had bases loaded, you had Adames and Devers, they put the ball in play just to get it out. Who cares? You got an RBI. Get the runner over, get the runner in. Do you like Chapman hitting 2 in this lineup, Ron, or did you like him hitting in 4 spot?
I don't know yet, because the thing is, if Ramos shows what he has, in pockets he's shown the ability to drive the ball, he could be an intriguing 5 spot, and Adames the 4 spot, and Chapman could bounce around between the 2 and the 4 spot.
Right. I like Devers. I really never liked Devers as a second hitter, even though you want to see him get that 4th at bat most of the time. I like him, like you just said, where Bonds hit in the 3rd spot. I like him in the 3rd spot rather than the 4th spot. I'd love to see him go behind Chapman, where it's lefty-righty, lefty. I like that combo. I wouldn't mind seeing Adames go in the 4th spot, but you said it mainly. Ramos could even be in a 4-hitter if he a little more disciplined at the plate and drives the ball. There are chances here that we might see a couple lineup changes, but this is the time to do it in spring training. I was happy to see Chapman hit number 2 today. I really was.
Absolutely. And there's one last thing. When we talk about injuries, right? So, these clubs, when they're evaluating a player to pick up from an injury, they're doing it education. They're talking to their orthopedists. They're talking to their trainers, and they're evaluating what the injury was, who the player was, and where they come in. And a good example is we bring up Robbie Ray. Robbie Ray hit a couple of 95s today. And that's a testament to he's now 2 years post recovery.
Right. This is his second full year after.
97. But he's gonna throw hard. And all these guys that they evaluate with injury, they do it for a reason. It's not like a wish and a prayer. It's educated guesses.
Oh, well, it is. And there are many, many things that they look at. Doctor reports, physician reports. They bring them in. They check them out. There's many eyes on everything. And what happens is if I'm looking at you as a free agent and I'm calling your agent has to give me all your medicals. If we're looking at you, we're making an intense look at you. You got to show us everything from your past. And also you can still look at physicians from what the team has too. They are checking everybody out. And, a couple calls were saying, well, there's so many Tommy Johns. Well, Tommy Johns is a very frequent thing for pitchers because everybody wants to throw 100 miles an hour. But you retrieve from it. You go backwards. Has he gone through that 6-month, 8-month window to get his arm back in shape? Is he back on the mound throwing? Can he long toss? Can he get that tendon working? It's all feel once the arm heals. And what the feel is off your fingertips. Because if you remember, an ultra nerve in your elbow controls your fingertips. It controls how you make a pitch. It controls the pressure on a pitch. That's what the biggest thing in Tommy John does for a pitcher. Can I throw a breaking ball? Can I get a cross-seam fastball off? And those are the things that's all feel and touch. It's mental, big-time mental, but once you get on that mound and you go 60 feet 6 inches and you're throwing good, then it's over. And now you can build that piece that get bigger, better, and stronger. And I think that's what we're going to see out of Robbie Ray. I talk about last year, the last month of the season, kind of fell backwards. He still got close to 190 innings. He just didn't, get that gut going in the last couple, maybe 4 or 5 starts. I don't think he had it. I think the arm was tired. Hopefully this year he can get in there and get a little length into it where you're getting into August and September and being that lefty like he was in the season. All right, Ron. Well, I appreciate your call. Let's go to Bob in Saratoga. Bob, how are you this evening?
Hey, it's so glad to have you back. We all missed you, and
I appreciate that, Bob. How you been, buddy? You been okay?
Yeah, I'm good. And the other thing I wanted to say is I'm so pleased to hear that you got a new sponsor in Man Cave Memorabilia. I've been working with those guys for 30 years. They're the best in their business.
Yeah, they've been friends of mine for a few years. They're fantastic in what they do, and that's where I'm hoping fans kind of look at what they have in their backyard or in their garage and give them a call. And you probably have done it too, Bob. It's the memorabilia that we all think that are worth millions of dollars. You go to them, and they're going to tell you what you can get, and they're good people, and they're sound people, and they're trustful. And that's one big
High
thing
integrity.
when we sat down.
Yeah.
Yep, very much.
High
Two
integrity.
good guys, too.
And as you know, I attended fantasy camp 15 times, so I have, lots of baseball signed and 8x10s and, everything. And it's the best thing I ever did in my life was to go to fantasy camp, and I did it between ages 60 and 75. So, it was a wonderful thing in my life, maybe the best thing I ever did. It made me
those
a
were
better
fun
fan.
times, Bob. I loved you and Adrian in the background giving you that plus every time you came up to bat. Come on, Bob, get a hit. That's all I heard.
Yeah. Well, I was so glad that you're back and baseball's back, and you are definitely the best announcer in the whole KNBR setup. And I've called and told their management that. So I hope you get some
Well, I
compliments.
appreciate it, Bob. I have fun doing it, and it's always about callers and to talk about the game of baseball, and that's what it is now. Spring training is upon us. On weekends, I'll be here. During the week, I'll pick up some post-game shows. But right now, it's the weekends and just the first weekend in baseball. We all start thinking, man, spring training's here, a new season. Everybody has their own thoughts about the 2026 Giants. And, you start putting pieces together. I always call it a puzzle. You start putting a puzzle together. Where can these guys fit in? What's your bench going to look like? Biggest question, of course, Bob, what's the bullpen going to be like? And these are things that happen. There's 2 games into it, and we'll see what Tony Vitello does. And He's got a new pitching coach in Justin Message, and they have to learn these pitchers. They got to learn what they have. They got to learn the inside. They got to learn the mental part of the game as well as the physical part of the game and see how these guys can bounce back. Did I lose you, Bob?
Yeah, no, I'm still here. I was listening.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm just trying to talk to you about a new season, really.
Yeah, well, Buster did such a great job bringing in Bochy and Baker and Washington and even Tony La Russa to help support the new manager. I mean, there's 100 years of managerial experience in the major leagues there.
So much knowledge right there, Bobby, and I'm so glad you brought that up. And you got Ron Washington, one of the best defensive coaches in the game. Ron and I played winter ball together. We played with the Cleveland Indians back in the day. Dusty and I also had a couple years with the Giants. These guys are baseball lifers. Dusty's going to be managing Nicaragua in the WBC. He's down there trying to put his team together. And then you got Bruce Bochy, who should be in the Giants uniform. He should be in the Giants organization for life. It was a hardship thing where he had to be shipped out because Farhan didn't want to bring him back, and that was a tough decision. And what does Bruce do? He goes to Texas and wins another World Series. So I'm glad he's back being an advisor, helping Buster in any which way he can. And you hit it right on the head. The three managers, all three of them were successful in what they did.
Yeah, in fact, four, right? When you throw in Washington and Bochy and Baker and there's
well, you got La Russa, but yeah, Tony's more or less a mentor. I think those are the three that I'm talking about. They're all part of the Giants.
Yeah,
hey,
Giants.
You know what? Tony Vitello went and saw Steve Kerr. Tony Vitello called other people. I mean, he's listening as much as he can to get the knowledge from some of the best, and why not? It's conversations and learning. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, thanks again for coming back, and we'll be listening every night.
Well, Bob, thank you for the praise, and I appreciate your call. It's always a great time to talk to you, and I'm so glad you brought up Man Cave memorabilia. Good people right there. But have a good night, Bob. Appreciate it. All right, we're going to take a quick break, come back with Tristan Beck. I got time to sit down with him. Of course, he's going to go to the WBC, pitch for Great Britain, but we're going to talk about Giants baseball with him and where he fits in, and he's a role of anywhere. He can be a starter, a long man, a middle man, a setup. He even got a couple saves last year. Tristan Beck and I talk Giants baseball coming up next right here on the Extra Inning Postgame Show on KNBR, the Sports Leader.
This is KNBR Extra Innings with former Giants right-hander Bill Laskey.
Sponsored by Lenardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply, the best.
Hear him on your Apple HomePod by saying play KNBR. Play KNBR.
Welcome back to the Extra Inning post-game show. I'm excited always to bring my guest on. He's a guy that I always call when I want to talk pitching, and he's so good to me. And let's bring him in. He wears number 43 for the San Francisco Giants. Let's introduce Tristan Beck. How are you today, Tristan?
Hey, doing well, Bill. Thanks for having me.
Oh, I appreciate your time as always. Another spring training, another year starting. Opportunities out of the bullpen are wide open. How do you feel so far?
So far, so good. Coming to you here during the first week of pitchers and catchers, and it's always fun, man. There's such good energy around the place, and yeah, you can feel just guys coming back, getting ready, ready for compete for some spots here coming up.
Well, Tristan, you got drafted in 2018 by the Atlanta Braves. You got traded over here in 2019. You're one of the older guys in that clubhouse. You've gone through Gabe Kapler, Bob Melvin, and now Tony Vitello. Tell me a little bit about all three managers. And I know you're just getting to know Tony, but all three of them were very good to you, giving you opportunities, and see how Tony's going to be.
Yeah, absolutely. It it feels like didn't really have a whole lot of time with any of them. Obviously, got that first season with Kapler, and then missed a season under Bob Melvin, but had him all year last year, and now tipping off with Tony. So the energy's great. We addressed the team, did that day one, and you can just feel the energy, the intensity kind of jumping off the page. So I think we're all really excited to see kind of how we kick this off and then get into spring training here.
Tristan Beck joining me on the Extra Inning postgame show. Another new face, pitching coaches, new philosophies, new ways to handle it. What have you learned about your new pitching coach so far?
It's been great. It's been great. We have an awesome staff. I was fortunate to be down here for the off season. So as those guys would kind of check in, come out to Papago where a lot of us train in the off season. It's just nice to get the hey, how you doings out of the way. So that once camp gets here, you're comfortable, guys are familiar with what you've been working on. You can really hit the ground running. But Message and Christian Wonders and Jesse Chavez and just the whole crew are being there, and it's great so far. I've loved working with them, and they bring a really positive, really good energy to the bullpen.
Tristan, anytime you have a new pitching coach, you got to know him. He's got to know you. You're throwing in the bullpen. You're throwing live BP. Are there changes already, or is he kind of waiting to see how you react before he starts, dissecting into what you have?
Yeah, not too many changes right off the bat, which I think is appreciated. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think I definitely felt the effort put forth from the pitching staff to kind of get to know me and understand the things I'd been working on all off season. Just because in an off season where you're going through a coaching search, you don't always have those tangible, like, this is what we want you to do, just because they're, focused on getting the ground running, learning the organization, figuring out what the roster looks like. So, there's a lot of prep work that went in this off season that wasn't necessarily directly hand in hand with the coaching staff. So it's been great. We've had a lot of good conversations just about stuff I'm working on, seeing where we're at physically, talking about, how you see pitching, how you see your mechanics, things that, you like to feel. So we're definitely kind of setting up right there. And as we get into more intense game situations, live DPs, I think we'll start, really refining what stuff we want to work on and target.
Well, Tristan, Buster Posey in one of his interviews said, we like competition, and the bullpen is full of competition. There's so many faces down there, new names, old names, some veterans. And when you look at what you did in 2025, you did a little bit of everything. You had a start, you were middle relief, you were a setup, you even got a couple saves. Is there one thing that they're gravitating to you and stating this is kind of what we are looking at in the bullpen for you?
Not really right now. It's still really early. I think we're seeing how the buildup goes, seeing how the first kind of early games go. But that's one of those things I really hang my hat on. I'm really proud of the fact that I can play a lot of different roles, and that's kind of been my job in my time here with the Giants, is just kind of filling in where the team needs me, whatever they need that week. But I think it just sets me up for a chance to be able to do a lot of stuff. Where all of a sudden, if all I could do was throw one inning at the back end, that's a little bit of a different story. But I'm just kind of gearing up, same as I always do, ready for anything.
Well, I think the big thing is being comfortable in the role you're doing. And I think the opportunities of last year and the year before being injured, you're more gravitating on what you're good at and what you can get better at. What is some of the things you're thinking about for 2026?
The big one is just tightening up the arsenal a little bit. I think last year, kind of more than anything, I really, really hunkered down on just the way I want to attack hitters and the way I want to get outs. And, we saw a big uptick in the amount of times I was using my sweeper. That was pretty new to me when I first debuted back in 23, but now it's kind of my bread and butter. So that just comes with a whole different kind of strategy, now that that's going to be the main focus of hitters' game plans. How do we use it effectively? How do we protect it? What else do we have in the arsenal to feature around it? So for me, it's really just figuring out how the rest of my pitches kind of play off that, just because I know it's my best pitch. Hitters know it's my best pitch. So, as you get more at bats against guys and guys see your stuff more, it's just a chess game, So how else can I attack you, get you maybe set up to go back to that sweeper?
Well, you've been in Scottsdale, like you said, at Papago over the winter working out. You have gone through spring training many years with the Giants. One of the hardest things in spring training is getting that breaking ball over. It's a dry air. It's hard to get those crisp breaking balls. And it's usually the secondary pitches that you're not working on right off the bat. What are you trying to do, and how are you adjusting to this in the early part of spring?
Yeah, right now this time of year is always just, for me, adjusting to the new intensity. You spend a whole off season working, tinkering, working on shapes, trying to get the ball to move this way or that way. But there's no substituting the adrenaline and the way your body moves when you start getting live hitters in the box. So, it's all well and good to be throwing a bullpen indoors on a turf mound in perfect conditions and all the stuff looks great. But man, once you get, Rafi Devers and Willie Adames and some of these guys stepping in the box, it's like, all right, it's a little different feel than it maybe was on the backfield of Papago over the offseason. So for me, it's really just trying to adjust to the body, moving quick, getting back into full speed competition. And, from there, once you get your feet under you, then you really start making those little adjustments.
That voice you hear on the Extra Inning Post-Game Show, my good friend Tristan Beck. Well, you're off to the World Baseball Classic, one of the coolest things. You'll be representing Great Britain, and of course, your brother Brendan will be on the side of you. Of course, he's been pitching with the New York Yankees, is in big league camp. A combination of the brothers heading out for Great Britain, but what a great opportunity for you to step away and really enhance your game and enhance something that you're going to remember the rest of your life.
Yeah, man, we are so excited. It was kind of a long conversation. I'd had some contact with the team the last go around, and it didn't really work out just where I was that year. But I couldn't be more excited for it. It's awesome opportunity. Our British heritage is something we grew up with pretty heavily, and it'll be fun to strap it up for Great Britain and see how it goes.
Well, I started looking at the schedule. March 3rd, you guys are scrimmaging the Brewers. March 4th, you play against San Diego in exhibition games. And then you're off to Houston, where really you guys don't get a break. You play Mexico on March 6th, USA on March 7th, Italy on March 8th. And then what's going on? You got Brazil on March 9th. So you guys playing every day in a real tough bracket, and that's Pool B. Tell me a little bit about your thoughts about all that.
Yeah. It was a little bit of a tough draw with the off days being on the front end and the back end. So getting those 4 straight, but we're looking forward to it. I mean, every group is pretty stacked when you look into it. There's so much talent in this year's tournament, which is just such a good thing, I think, for the game and for the product. It'll be fun to get to measure up against that USA team. That's for sure. But man, Mexico, Italy, Brazil. I mean, there's a lot of talent on these teams, so it'll be fun. And I've played a couple of games down there at the Astro Stadium down there in Houston, and that's a pretty rocking environment. I can't wait to get out there and really see what the national fans are bringing to it.
Now, the biggest thing walking away from Giants camp, and now you're going to be competing in the World Baseball Classic. Are you gearing up to be a starter, a reliever? What has Great Britain thought about what you're going to do for them?
We're still having those conversations. The pitch counts and all of that are pretty strict in that opening round, just being so early in March. So I think we'll just see how the workload progresses with me here at Giants camp, and start having those conversations kind of week before, week of, just see what I'm comfortable with, what the organization's comfortable with. But obviously, having those 4 games in a row makes it a little bit tough to try to squeeze 2 outings out of that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we'll just see kind of where my arm's at, how I'm feeling, and what the team's comfortable letting me do out there. But you know me, I'm up for anything.
Well, Tristan, I'm sure your parents are going to go to Houston to see you and your brother. Now, you played with your brother. He's 2 years younger than you. High school, couple years there. But tell me a little bit about your relationship with your brother now. You guys probably worked out a little bit over the winter. What is he foreseeing in this World Baseball Classic?
He's great. Yeah. We've got a really good relationship. We talk almost every day. After every outing, we call, chop it up, talk about how it went. But he's lucky. He's still at the point in his career. He's still starting games and doing a pretty darn good job of it out there in the Yankees system. So he's built up. He'll 100% be a starter, I think, for us at Great Britain. And yeah, it's just kind of the same old story with him. He's doing the build-up. I think he just threw his first live BP today. He might have faced Aaron Judge. I think I'm waiting on a text back to hear the group he ended up throwing against.
Well, what does your
he's got
parents
a
think
great
about
arsenal.
this, Tristan? Your parents have to be pretty proud to see both of you playing for Great Britain, and what are their thoughts on it?
They're super excited. They couldn't. That's been one of the coolest things about once rosters were announced last week, and we had told some close friends and family that we had been. Yeah, we had the early heads up that we were making the team and we were going to be with the roster, but it was pretty cool, just kind of the outflow of support that we both got, and even people who you haven't kept in super close touch with, or people you don't see all the time reaching out and just, oh, like, we can't wait to see it. We watch every year, and just getting that support from them, and then having my parents fly out. My older sister is going to fly out and be there, so it's going to be a really, really fun event.
Well, I want to congratulate you for representing Great Britain along with your brother, and good luck at the World Baseball Classic. I'll definitely be keeping an eye on you like I always do with a Giants uniform. And all I want to do is say is good luck and really, really enjoy yourself. It's once in a lifetime, and maybe next time, but right now you got to look at the moment and really enjoy it, especially with your family.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it. I'm really looking forward to it. So we'll see how we do.
Well, Tristan, we'll stay in touch as the season begins, and I'll see you up here in San Francisco.
Yes, sir. Always a pleasure, Bill. Thanks for having me.
That was Tristan Beck on the Extra Inning postgame show. More coming up right here on KNBR, the sports leader.
KNBR Extra Innings with Bill Laskey keeps the postgame rolling live right here.
Sponsored by Lenardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply, the best.
On KNBR 104.5 FM and 680 AM, the sports leader.
Welcome back to the Extra Inning postgame show as we get in the evening here in Northern California. Earlier today, the Giants won at Scottsdale, their first game at Scottsdale Stadium. They won 4-2, 4 runs, 8 hits. 2 errors for the Giants, 2 runs, 9 hits, no errors for the Chicago Cubs. Giants are now 2-0. The Cubs are 0-3, but it doesn't matter at spring training. Tomorrow, the Athletics come to Scottsdale Stadium. J.T. Brubaker, a pitcher they picked up last year, will be the starting pitcher. Trevor McDonald and Gregory Santos will be following up. Tuesday, the Giants will head over to Tempe and play the L.A. Angels. Wednesday, they'll go to Phoenix and play Milwaukee. Thursday, they're home against the Rockies. Next Friday, the game will be played. The Dodgers will be coming to Scottsdale. And then next Saturday and Sunday, I'll be right back here on the Extra Inning post-game show. The Giants will be going to Hohokam in Mesa to play the Athletics on Saturday. And the San Diego Padres will come to Scottsdale on Sunday. And both those games will be right here on KNBR. Tristan Beck, just got a chance to talk to him for a little bit. He's going to be representing Great Britain. Had a nice inning today. He threw 1 inning. Through the 3rd inning, gave up 1 hit, struck out 1. Really threw a lot of strikes. 13 pitches with 11 of them for strikes. So good luck with Tristan in battling to make this bullpen, as well as what he's going to do in a WBC. So cool that he's going to be able to pitch with his brother, who's really done a great job in the New York Yankees organization. Was in AAA last year. He's in big league camp fighting for an opportunity with the Yankees. All right, coming up next, I'm going to do this throughout spring training, bringing a player in that you don't know about. Diego Cartaya is his name. Grew up in Venezuela. He signed as a number 1 pick in international signing with the L.A. Dodgers. He was 17 years old right out of high school. He really was one of the top prospects with the Dodgers. He got up to double A, and he ended up hurting his back, and it really pushed him back a little bit. He ended up going through Rule 5 once the Dodgers took him off the roster. The Minnesota Twins picked him up, and he still wasn't healthy, and he got released last year. And the Giants picked him up and ended up bringing him back over to Papago, and really, really is a strong mental coach. As a catcher, he really does a lot of things with pitchers. He's got a good eye at the plate, and I want to introduce him to you. So today, Diego Cartaya is coming up next to learn a little bit about him. He's from Venezuela, a young kid, and I love doing this, and it's the first time he's ever been on national radio, as we call it, KNBR. Well, coming up next with Diego on Extra Innings on KNBR, the sports leader.
This is KNBR Extra Innings with Bill Laskey.
Sponsored by Lenardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply, the best.
Listen on your Google Home smart speaker by saying play KNBR.
Welcome back to the Extra Inning Postgame Show with Bill Laskey. As spring training is upon us, we always talk about the old roster. Well, I got a new guy on the team, and he's here today to talk some catching. So let's bring in Diego Cartaya. How are you, Diego?
I'm very good. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Pleasure to finally talk to you. Of course, you started out your career with the LA Dodgers, moved on to the Minnesota Twins, and last year the San Francisco Giants signed you. How is spring training going so far for you?
I mean, it's amazing. Get to know new people and having new teammates, new coaches. Very, very exciting.
Well, Diego, you grew up in Venezuela. I played winter ball there. What a great, rich country for Major League Baseball. And you've grown there, and you had a pretty good career in high school, and you were a #1 prospect coming out of high school. And sure enough, the LA Dodgers picked you in the first round. Were you ready to go into pro ball at that time? And tell me a little bit about your youth.
Yeah, I mean, as an international player, you always wants to sign at that age, 16, 17, and I was blessed to get that signing with the LA Dodgers. And just growing up in Venezuela, you get a lot of opportunities to play good and high level baseball, and just coming through the minor leagues with the Dodgers, and then like you said, last year with the Twins, and now having this new opportunity with the Giants. I'm very excited and very happy to be here.
Diego, when you were in Venezuela, was there catchers that intrigued you? I know Salvador Perez is a big name back then, or was there something that intrigued you to be a catcher?
Not really. I grew up being an infielder, and then when I turned around 15, 16 years old, that's where like the catching conversation came up, and I knew that I had a better chance catching than playing infield, and that's why we made the change. But yeah, when my coaches told me that I was gonna catch, I started watching a lot of videos of Salvi or Jadier Molina and all these great Latin catchers and try to pick up something good on them.
Diego Cartaya is joining me on the Extra Inning postgame show. Catching has a lot of things to do. You're the captain of the field. You're watching the game. You're intrigued with the pitcher. Some of the things you have to notice and some of the things you have to translate during that game. Is this something you like to gravitate to?
I always try to build that confidence with my pitcher, like get to know them. Obviously, is the main thing. You always want to get along with all your teammates and stuff, but especially with the pitcher, they're the ones that they have the ball and they decide when the game starts or when the game stops. So I try to make sure that I always have a clear and good communication with them. And I feel like if you get to know your pitcher, not just in baseball, like outside of baseball, and become a close friends, everything's gonna go better between the lines.
Well, Kyle Haynes, minor league director of player development, had some great thoughts and great things to say about you. Phenomenal young man, catcher's IQ off the plate, always talking to pitchers, always learning about the game, hardworking. Tell me a little bit about when you hear somebody talk about that to you. Tell me what you think first off.
That makes me happy. That's one of the things that's why I keep my discipline, and I try to get to know my teammates, and I try to work hard every day. So I think it's very, very special for me when anybody can be, it doesn't matter who says it, but it makes me proud of myself when I hear people talking about me like that.
Well, Diego, you started out with the LA Dodgers, and of course, is exactly what the opposite is. You know, you're playing with the San Francisco Giants. It seems like the rivalry is right between you, one side to the other. Now you're in the orange and black. How does that make you feel?
I mean, it's a special, I obviously when you sign with the Dodgers, that the first thing they teach you is to we don't like those guys in black and orange, but um, as a player, and we try to do our best for the teams the team that we play for. It doesn't matter what team it is. So now I'm in the other side, and I just want to be at every single team that play against us.
Diego, the catching coach is Alex Berg, phenomenal coach. He's always working with catchers. There's always a positive, but he likes to work on the negatives. He likes to build those little things that make you better. What has he been so far to you at Big League Camp?
It's been great. I'm learning so much out of him and out of all my teammates in the catching side. But I've been working on new stance, pre-pitch, and all the stuff, the way to attack the ball, and he's been great so far. I'm learning so much from him.
As a catcher, do you like the one knee crouch or do you like the normal crouch? What is more comfortable for you?
I go one knee always, um, and I think it puts my body in a better position. I can rest my knees and lower back, so um, I feel better catching from a knee.
Well, Diego, Patrick Bailey's got 2 gold gloves on him. Of course, he's the #1 catcher at the big league level. Framing is so big in Major League Baseball, as well as minor league baseball. Of course, the ABS is starting to come in the ball and strike zone. Is it difficult now to maybe not frame as much, or are they still pushing the framing to all the catchers?
Well, I think framing is always gonna be there. We don't know how, or I don't know how it's gonna the ABS play, but um, of course you wanna help your pitcher, you wanna help your team, and if you can steal strikes for them, it's gonna be huge. So I think that's the main thing for us, and uh, as long as we can, we're gonna keep trying stealing those strikes.
I think the biggest thing also, Diego, is scouting reports. You have to know the opposition and also talk about your pitchers and what they like to throw in certain pitches, certain locations. Has that been difficult to learn so many pitchers? Because you got a whole new staff to learn.
Yeah, I mean it's hard, especially when you're new on a team. But that's why you gotta keep like having that conversation with your pitcher. Just not when they're throwing, if not like anytime you have to sit down with them and chat and remember the names, the shapes, the what they like, what they don't like. It's something that you have to take care of, and I think that once you talk to somebody and see it for the first time and go through the pitches and all that, I think it makes it a little easier.
That voice you hear on the Extra Inning post-game show is Diego Cartaya, a young promising catcher at Big League Camp, trying to compete to get in this catching position for the San Francisco Giants. Buster Posey comes out every spring the last couple of years saying competition. He wants to see people compete. Is this something that you're fired up for?
Yeah, I mean, it's we're all teammates, and obviously the game is about competition. So every time out there, either taking a bat or catching or doing anything, I'm competing. So you have to and you gotta love to compete.
Diego, let's look at the offensive numbers. The numbers came down a little bit last year, but over the years when you were at the Dodgers, power numbers were up, RBI numbers are up. What do you do to compare what you did in the past to now in spring training, trying to get that mindset ready to compete?
Yeah, so I work a lot on the off season. Of course, last year wasn't a good year for me, and just trying to go back to what I used to do and fixing those little things that went off. But I feel pretty good right now. I feel like my swing is in a really good position, and I'm just trusting now everything that I worked on the off season.
Diego, in between innings, you got the iPad, you're watching yourself maybe at bats, you're looking at different things the pitchers are throwing. Are you a guy that just puts the iPad down and more or less trusts what your judgment is? Or are you looking at certain things in between at bats?
Um, the only times that I use the iPad during the season or a game, it's always to remember how we attack a guy or where are we missing, or it's always on the defensive side. I never really look at my prior at bats or anything like that. I try to keep it very simple, and I use it more as a for catching things.
A couple more minutes with Diego Cartaya. Of course, he's in big league camp as one of the young catchers. Your English is fantastic. Did you learn it in Venezuela? How did you learn English so well?
Thank you. I really try to. I took some classes in Venezuela, but of course, when I first came to the U.S., I had great people around me that they didn't care how I spoke or whatever I say. They were just like trying to teach me, and then they helped me a lot to practice and just losing that fear of like saying something wrong or anything like that. That people knows that it's not my first language and it's something that I'm still learning, and I just try to do my best.
Diego, family is so special. Of course, you contact your family most of the time. That's what a lot of Latin players do. I've been around so many great families when I played in Venezuela. Tell me a little bit about your family.
I'm very blessed. My parents are amazing. My dad, he didn't play a lot of baseball growing up, but he's an athlete. My mom too. She used to do bodybuilding, and they're both great. They support me. They're there for me every time. And as a only child, all their energy and time it's for me. So I really enjoy having my parents.
Diego, when you're away from baseball, what are some of the things you like to do?
I like to go to the water. I like to fish. I play a lot of video games. And
what about favorite food? What's your favorite food?
I love arepa. I don't know if you had those when you play there, but arepa is my favorite food ever.
They're great. They're great. What about music? What kind of music do you like?
Man, I listen to everything. Even like I mean, I'm very, very Latin. Like I like
course.
salsa and all those things. Like I love it. I listen every day. But I also enjoy American music. Like it can be country or anything like that. I like everything.
Well, I've never met a Latin player that couldn't dance. I know you're a good dancer. Tell me you are.
Yeah, I am.
Well, Diego, it was great catching up with you. I hope to meet you sometime. But again, all the best to you in Giants camp. And at the same time, good luck.
Thank you so much. Thanks for the interview and your time. Thank you.
Diego, I appreciate your time. Diego Cartaya was on Extra Inning Post-Game Show. More coming up right here on KNBR, the Sports Leader.
The game may be over, but we know you want to talk more ball. So KNBR Extra Innings with Bill Laskey continues.
Sponsored by Lenardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply, the best.
We are KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
Welcome back to the Extra Inning Post-Game Show with Bill Laskey as we close out a Sunday. Giants win earlier today 4-2 against the Chicago Cubs. They're 2-0 on this weekend, as well as moving forward tomorrow against the Athletics. They'll be playing at Scottsdale Stadium, first pitch at 12:05. I want to thank my two guests today, Tristan Beck and Diego Cartaya, both of them going in spring training. I wish them both well. Next weekend, the Athletics will be on Saturday as well as San Diego on Sunday. Mark Ellis will join me on Saturday. Of course, he was a huge part of the Oakland A's when he played, and he brings a lot of insight on what Ron Washington does on the defensive side. And on Sunday, Dave Brundage, 40 years in minor league baseball. He's starting his 10 years as the Sacramento River Cats manager. I want to thank my producer today, Ryan McCarthy. Did a great job, and I want to thank you Giants fans for calling in. Great weekend as we start the Extra Inning Post-Game Show for 2026. For Bill Laskey, have a great rest of Sunday evening. Have a great week, and I'll talk to you next Saturday right here on KNBR, the Sports Leader.
It's another great outing for the righty on your home of San Francisco Giants baseball. KNBR 104.5 and 680, the Sports Leader. Play KNBR.